Hello, hello, hello. Uh, as scheduled earlier this morning, I wanted to read at least one of the Gnostic Gospels so that people will understand what we are talking about. It's not, how to say it, it's not the same reading a Gnostic Gospel and a Gospel written by one of the four evangelists Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John. Let's go. Let's get into it. As you can see, this is a very good website. Here is the uh, site navigation, and here, as you can see, there are other types of things. For example, the four gospel, Acts, letters of Paul, letter to the Hebrews. Each is debatable if it is Paul or one of the other apostles. General letters, James, John, Jude, and the Revelation. Then we have the Apocrypha, Gospel of Thomas, Egerton Gospel, Gospel of Peter, Oxyrhus 840, Gospel of Mary, Epistula Apostolorum, Infancy Gospel of James, Infancy Gospel of Thomas, Acts of Pilate, and Diatessaron. Who knows what that is? Gospel fragments. We have these fragments here. The Acts, preaching of Peter, Acts of Peter. These are all apocrypha, actually. We don't know if they were written by people close to them or not. That's why they are apocrypha. Martyrologies, Martyrdom of Polycarp, Six Books of Ezra, Acts of Carpus, Papyrus. Anyway, we have a whole, how to say it, collection here. A whole collection. I can share actually right now this link for all those people that want to uh, check it up. That's the link. So, but let's get into it, yeah? Let's see what exactly that is. One sentence description of Gnosticism, a religion that differentiates the evil God of this world, who is identified with the God of the Old Testament, from a higher, more abstract God revealed by Jesus Christ. A religion that regards this world as the creation of a series of evil archons powers who wish to keep the human soul trapped in an evil physical body. A religion that preaches a hidden wisdom or knowledge only to a select group as necessary for salvation or escape from this world. The term Gnostic derives from gnosis, which means knowledge, or in other way, the same word knowledge is also science. Just keep that in mind. The Gnostics, you could say, the scientists, believed that they were privy to a secret knowledge about the divine, hence the name. Huxley coined agnosticism on the basis that all knowledge must be based on reason. We cannot rationally claim to have access to knowledge that is beyond the powers of the intellect. There are numerous references to the Gnostics in second century Proto Orthodox literature. Most of what we know about them is from the polemic thrown at them by the early church fathers. They are alluded to in the Bible, in the pastorals, Spurius Paulins of First Timothy, Second Timothy, and Titus. For example, First Timothy 1:4 and First Timothy 6:20, and possibly the entirety of Jude. Ignatius of Antioch writes against them as well as Docetism, a doctrine closely related to Gnosticism that stated that Christ was pure spirit and had only a phantom body. What means here phantom body is that it was, uh, how to say it, half spiritual, half uh, material, and mostly the spiritual was the one that overcoming it. So it was mostly spiritual phantom, like a ghost. Second Clement is a document aimed at refuting early second century Gnosticism. Marcion was the most famous of the Gnostics, and he established a canon of the Pauline epistles minus the pastorals, and the mutilated Luke presumably considered to so because it lacked proof texts such as Luke 22, 30, 43, 44. Justin Martyr mentioned him at 150, and Irenaeus and Tertullian wrote against him extensively in the late 2nd century, in Against Heresy and Against Marcion, respectively. Besides Marcion, other important Gnostics were Basilides and Valentinus. Some Gnostic documents are the Gospel of Truth, the letter to Regimus, treatise on the three natures, Apocalypse of Adam, the Gospel of Matthias, Gospel of Philip, Acts of Peter, and Acts of Thomas. Although the Gnostics were prolific writers, most of their works have been burnt or lost in favor of proto-Orthodox writings and known only through patristic references. Some scholars have theorized that Gnosticism has its root in pre-Christian religions instead of being merely an offshoot of Christianity. The following are writings by Gnostics of the 2nd century, according to some scholars, although some others dispute these classifications for writings, such as the Gospel of Thomas. So we have here Gospel of Thomas, the Secret Book of James, Basilides, Nicene Fragment, Gospel of Mary, blah 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 blah. All of the above documents and more are presented on the early in their website. Here are some books about Gnostics and Gnosticism. Kurt Rudolph, Elaine Pagels again, The Gnostic Paul, Alan Williams, Stuart Holroyd, H.B. Logan. Here are some web pages about Gnosticism. So you can check that. Go to the chronological list of all early Christian writings. Yeah, next time. Let's go to the Gospel of Thomas. And as you can see, once we go here, we can go back. Estimated range of dating is 50 to 140. Actually, it's like something like 100 or something like that. But who cares? We have translations in English. It's written in Greek. And we have translations here. Different people translated it. Also, we have resources, commentary on the Gospel of Thomas. And there are off-site links outside of the site. You can navigate yourselves. And the books that this website is listing. So, information on the Gospel of Thomas. The Gospel of Thomas is extant in 3 Greek fragments and 1 Coptic manuscript. The Greek fragments are POXY 654, which corresponds to the prologue and saying 1 through 7 of the Gospel of Thomas. POXY 1, which corresponds to the Gospel of Thomas 26 to 30, 77.2, 31 to 33, and POXY 655, which corresponds to the Gospel of Thomas 24 and 36 to 39. It is dated shortly after 200 CE for paleographical reasons, and the other 2 Greek fragments are estimated to have been written in the mid-3rd century. The Coptic text was written shortly before the year 350. Comments on the textual Ron Cameron comments on the textual integrity of Thomas. Substantial differences do exist between the Greek fragments and the Coptic text. These are best explained as variants resulting from the circulation of more than one Greek edition of the Gospel of Thomas in antiquity. The existence of three different copies of the Greek text does give evidence of rather frequent copying of this Gospel in the 3rd century, according to the critical edition of the Greek text by Attridge. However, even though these copies do not come from a single manuscript, the fragmentary state of the papyri does not permit one to determine whether any of the manuscripts sorry, was copied from one another, whether they derive independently from a single archetype or whether they represent distinct recessions. It is clear, nevertheless, that blah blah was subject to reduction as it was transmitted. The presence of inner Coptic errors in the sole surviving translation, moreover, suggests that our present is not the first Coptic transcription made from the Greek. The manuscript tradition indicates that this gospel was appropriated again and again in the generations following its composition. Like many other gospels in the first 3 centuries, must be regarded as unstable. The one incontrovertible testimony to of the Gospel of Thomas is found in Hippolytus of Rome, writing between the years 222 to 35. Hippolytus quotes a variant of saying, for expressly stated to be taken from a text entitled to Gospel of Thomas. Possible reference to this Gospel by its title alone abound in early Christianity, but such indirect attestations must be treated with care, since they might refer to the infancy Gospel of Thomas. Parallels to certain sayings in Gospels of Thomas are also abundant. Some are found according to Clement of Alexandria in the Gospel of the Hebrews and the Gospel of the Egyptians. However, a direct dependence of Gospel of Thomas upon another non-canonical Gospel is problematic and extremely unlikely. The relationship of Gospel of Thomas to the diatessaron of Tatian is even more vexed, exacerbated by untold difficulties in reconstructing the textual basis of Tatian's tradition and has not yet been resolved. I'm not gonna read all of that. I want to read the actual thing. So let's go English relation of the gospel by ecumenical Coptic. No, let's go English relation of the Gospel of Thomas. The Dungen. Let's see, Mr. Dungen. The Gospel of. It's not an according to. It's the Gospel of Thomas by Didymus Jude Thomas. Nobody knows that guy. Circa AD 75 to 100. 1997. So many people. Has been inspired by the work of Doris, Robinson, Bloods, Gibla, Layton, whatever. Look how it starts. Here are the secret sayings which Jesus the living spoke and which Didymus Jude Thomas wrote down. So allegedly, Jesus the living was saying something to this guy, and this guy was writing them down. He didn't have anything else to do. He was dictating to Jude Thomas what to write down. Anyway. And he said, apparently Jesus, yeah, he who penetrates the meaning of these words will not taste death. What? What does that even mean? No context at all. No context at all. Nothing. What does that even mean? Then Jesus said, let him who seeks not cease to seek until he finds. What? Let him who seeks not cease to seek until he finds. When he finds, he will become troubled. When he is troubled, he will wander and he will reign over the all. Eh? Really? That's what happens? Totally. I mean, out of reality. So let's say I'm seeking my key. I found my key. Now what? I'm troubled? No, I'm relieved. I was looking for my key. Oh my goody. I mean, really, people? Is this how they were writing those things? Number three, Jesus said, if those who led you say to you, see, the kingdom is in heaven, then the birds of the sky will be there for you. If they say to you, it is in the sea, then the fish will be there before you. But the kingdom is inside you and outside you. When you know yourselves, then you will be known, and you will know that you are the children of the living Father. But if you do not know yourselves, then you dwell in poverty, then you are that poverty. What? Can someone explain that to me? I don't understand what they are talking about here. If those who lead you say to you, see, the kingdom is in heaven, does that mean the sky? And the birds of the sky will be there before me? What does that matter? I mean, really, guys? Whoever wrote that has nothing to do with Christian theology. They were just writing stuff that they thought would be allegedly wise. It's like reading Quran of the second century or something. Jesus said, "A person old in days will not hesitate to ask a child of 7 days about the place of life. He will live. For many who are first will become last, and they will become one and the same." Jesus said, "A person old in days will not hesitate to ask a child of 7 days about the place of what? Who is the child of 7 days?" Number five, Jesus said, "Know that what is before your face and what is hidden from you will be revealed to you. For nothing hidden will fail to be revealed." Ah, that's stolen from the this particular phrase. It's partially stolen from one of the gospel. Number six. His disciples asked and said to him, "Do you want us to fast? How shall we pray and give alms? What diet shall we observe?" Jesus said, "Tell no lie and do not and don't do actually do not and do not what you hate." Okay, do not do what you hate. For all things are plain in the face of heaven, for nothing hidden will fail to be revealed, and nothing covered will remain without being uncovered. Okay. They ask him if the sky is gray or blue, and he says, "I have a beautiful house." I mean, whatever. Jesus said, "Fortunate is the lion which the man eats, so that the lion becomes a man. And cursed is the man whom the lion eats, so that the man becomes a lion." Yeah, whatever. Whoever understands that, please tell me. I don't understand it. Number eight. Then he said, "A man is like a wise fisherman who casts his nets into the sea and drew it up from the sea full of small fish. Among them he found a fine large fish. The wise fisherman threw all the small fish back into the sea and chose the large fish without hesitation. He who has ears to hear, for example, this phrase, he who has ears to hear, let him hear. It's in the Gospel of according to Matthew. But this guy here, so I will let. I worked for 8 hours to catch fish at that time, the first century. And instead of selling those small fish, I will take the big fish. Why? Well, depends what how big it is, isn't it? If it's like 50 kilo fish, still the small fish are like 100, 200 kilos. So why to do that? Jesus said, see, the sower went out, filled his hand, and scattered the seed. Some fell on the road, birds came and gathered them, others fell on rocky ground, did not take root in the soil, and did not give ears of corn, and others fell among thorns. They choked the seeds, and worms ate them, and others fell on good soil and gave good fruit. It bore 60 per measure and 120 per measure. What does that have to do with anything? I mean, fine that you steal from one of the gospels, regardless how you do it, but why do you have to add your stupid brain into that? Why? Why do you have to crook it? Why do you have to make it crooked? Just put an end there and that's it. I mean, really, man? Jesus said, I have cast fire upon the world, and see, I watch over it until it blazes up. Really, I have cast. When did Jesus ever would say that? That's crazy. Jesus said, this heaven will pass away, and the one above it will pass away. The dead are not alive, and the living will not die. Eh? In the days when you consumed death, you made death alive. When you come to dwell in the light, what will you do? On the day when you were one, you became what? But when you become two, what will you do? Man, that's really like reading the Arabic Quran, really. This 11th verse is like it's Allah. Yeah, that's definitely Allah here. That's not Jesus. The disciples said to Jesus, we know that you will live from us. Who is it to be our leader? Jesus said to them, from where you stand now, you are to go to James the Just, for whose sake heaven and earth came into being. Eh? Nobody understands that, yeah? Who we know that you will live from us, who is to be our leader? Just make up one. Jesus said to his disciples, compare me and tell me who am I like? Simon Peter said to him, you are like a righteous angel. Really? Matthew said to him, you are like a wise philosopher. Thomas said to him, Master, my mouth is wholly incapable of saying what you are like. Your master, because you have drunk, I am not. You have become intoxicated from the bubbling spring of living water, which I have measured out. And he took him aside and spoke three words to him. When Thomas came back to his companions, they asked him, what did Jesus say to you? Thomas answered them, if I tell you one of the words, you will take up stones and throw them at me, and fire will come out of the stones and burn you. Wow, that is definitely Muhammad speaking. That's definitely Muhammad speaking. If I tell you, you know what will happen? The whole world will destroy. I mean, really, man? What the heck is that? That's Muhammad definitely speaking. So Jesus said to them, if you fast, you will give rise to sin for yourselves. And if you pray, you will be condemned. What? And if you give alms, you will harm your spirit. And when you enter any land and travel over the country, if they receive you, eat what they will set before you, and heal the sick among them. For what goes into your mouth will not defile you, but what comes out of your mouth will defile you. Yeah, so it takes that and just makes it whatever here. As if Jesus would say something that's stupid. If you fast, you will give rise to sin. What? Who is the. Oh, oh, oh my goodness. That's crazy speak. 15. Jesus said, when you see one who was not born of woman, prostrate yourselves on your faces and worship. That one is your father. Eh? How are they going to see him? Ah, you see where they get this idea from? You see, Jesus said, men think perhaps. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Maybe you can't see whatever I'm reading here. And I'm really sorry about that. Let me see. Mm, Tap, tap, tap. One more. Let's see. Come on. No, there's a delay. Ah, one more. Can do it one more. Tap. Ah, come on. Quit with the delay. Let me do it this way. Ah, that's even better. And hide. Okay. When you see one who was not born of a woman, yeah, we read that. Jesus said, men think perhaps that it is peace which I have come to bring to the world. They do not know that I have come to bring what I have that I have to bring to earth discord, fire, sword, and war. Indeed, if there are five in a house, three will be against two, and two against three, the father against the son, and the son against the father, and they will stand alone. So they take this this saying of Christ, whoever wrote those things, and they make it for warmongers. They clearly don't understand what Jesus was referring to there. Jesus is referring to the uh, clash that the people will have, those that will accept Christ and those that will not, and those that do not accept Christ are in enmity towards Christ, and we see that every day. Sorry about my voice. Sorry about coughing. I usually don't do that. Let me drink something. Maybe it will ease my sore throat. So let's go to the number 17. Jesus said, I shall give you what no eye has seen, and what no ear has heard, and what no hand has touched, and what never arose in the heart of man. Yeah? What is that? Vague, totally vague things, you know? No context at all. I will give you what no eyes have seen. Yeah, really? At that time, the eyes haven't seen a car. Would you give them a car at the time? I mean, really, man? What the heck? The disciples said to Jesus, "Tell us how our end will be." Jesus said, "So have you discovered the beginning that you look for the end? For where the beginning is, there the end will be. Fortunate is he who stands at the beginning. He will know the end and will not taste death." So again, what color is the grass? Ah, the trees are very tall. Whatever. The answer is totally, completely different. Jesus said, "Fortunate is he who was before he became. If you become my disciples and listen to my words, these stones will serve you. For there are 5 trees for you in paradise, which remain unshaken, summer and winter, and their leaves do not fall. He who knows them will not taste death." Yeah, and there is summer and winter in the paradise. Yeah, whatever. The disciples said to Jesus, "Tell us what the kingdom of heaven is like." He said to them, "It is like a mustard seed, the smallest of all seeds, but when it falls on tiled soil, it produces a big plant and becomes a shelter for the birds of the sky." Oh my goodness, whatever. Mary said to Jesus, "What are your disciples like?" He said, "They are like children who have settled in a field which is not theirs. When the owners of the field come, they will say, 'Let us have our field back.' When they will let them have the field back, they will stand naked in their presence. Therefore I say to you, if the owner of a house knows that the thief is coming, knows that the thief is coming, he will stay awake till he comes and will not let him break in the house of his domain to carry away his goods. You then be on your guard against the world. Gird your loins with great strength so that the robbers find no way to come to you. For they will find the advantage which you expect. Let there be among you a smart man. When the fruit was ripe, he quickly came with his sickle and harvested it. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. I mean, we can see that the change of instead of 2 and 3 lines, now we have a whole, let's say, monologue out of one question. Mary allegedly asks Jesus, "What are your disciples like?" It's like me asking, "What's the color of your wardrobe?" And he goes around, doesn't answer anything. I mean, not even around. He starts like they are children who have settled the field, but it's not theirs. Why did they settle this field then? And then the owners came and threw them out. No, they didn't even throw them out. They just got their clothes off. Whatever. Jesus saw infants being suckled. He said to his disciples, "These infants who suck are like those who enter the kingdom. Shall we then enter the kingdom as infants? When you make the two one, and when you make the inside like the outside, you the outside, and the outside like the inside, and the above like, and when you make the male and the female one, so that the male will not be male nor the female female. When you fashion eyes in place of an eye, and a hand in place of a hand, and a foot in place of a foot, and a likeness in place of a likeness." If you understand anything of that, please ring me. Really. Tell me, what do you get from that? What is it that you get from that? This is really like reading one of the hadith. Really. Jesus said. I shall choose you, one from 1,000, two from 10,000, and they shall be as a single one. Really? His disciples said to him, show us the place where you are, since it is necessary for us to seek it. He said to them, he who has ears, let him hear. There is light within a man of light, and he lights up the whole world. If he does not shine, there is darkness. Really? Jesus said, love your brother like your own soul, which watch over him like the apple of your eye. Jesus said, you see the mote in your brother's eye, but you do not see the beam in your own eye. Ah, that's another quote. Cast out your beam of your own eye, and then you will see clearly enough to cast out the mote from your brother's eye. Wow. You will not find the kingdom. If you do not observe the Sabbath as Sabbath, you will not see the Father. Yeah, you see, this is Judaism now. I took my place in the midst of the world, and I appeared to them in flesh. I found them all drunk. I found none of them thirsty. And my soul, how they are drunk okay. And my soul ached for the sons of men, because they are blind in their heart and do not see that they came empty into the world, and empty they seek to leave it. But for the moment they are drunk. When they have slept off their wine, they will repent. And then why did you say that? Jesus said, if the flesh came into being for the sake of the spirit, it is a wonder. But if the spirit came into being for the sake of the body, it is a wonder of wonders. Indeed, I marvel at how this great wealth has made its home in this poverty. Whatever. Where there are three gods, they are gods. Where are where there are two or one, I am with him. Eh? This, where are two or one, I am with him, is a quote from the Gospels, but that has nothing to do with the gods or any gods. Jesus said, no prophet is accepted in his own town, no physician heals those who know him. Uh, the second part is totally false. Jesus said, a fortified city built on a high mountain cannot fall, nor can it be hidden. Preach from your rooftops that which you will hear in your ear. For no one lights a lamp and puts it under a bushel, nor does he put it in a hidden place, but rather he sets it on a lampstand, so that all who come in and go out will see its light. Eh? Jesus said, when a blind man leads another blind man, both fall into a ditch. Yeah, maybe that's the only correct thing that this Jesus said. Jesus said, it is not possible for anyone to enter the house of a strong man and take him by force unless he bides his hands. Then one can ransack his house. Actually, that's also a quote from one of the Gospels. I don't remember which verse, but it is not possible for anyone to enter the house of a strong man and take him by force unless he blinds his hands. Then one can ransack his house. Yeah, if you kill him, of course you will ransack. What does that have to do with anything? Do not be concerned from morning until evening, and from evening until morning about what you will put on. Okay, another quote from the Gospels. When will you reveal yourself to us, and when will we see you? When you strip without being ashamed. So when you take your clothes without being ashamed and take up your clothes and place them under your feet like little children and trample on them, then you will see the Son of the Living Man. You will not see what? So you have to get naked to see that. Oh my goodness, whatever. Jesus said, often you have desired to hear these words which I am saying to you, and you have no one else to hear them from. There will be days when you will seek me and will not find me. Yeah. You will seek me and you will not find me. Yeah. That's from the Gospel according to John. But the other things is whatever Jesus said. The Pharisees and the scribes have taken the keys of knowledge and hidden them. They have not entered, nor have they allowed those who wish so to enter. You, however, be as shrewd as serpents and innocent as doves. Another quote from that actually proves that the gospel writings are much earlier than this. Jesus said, "A vine shoot is planted away from the Father because it is not fastened. It will be plucked up from its roots and perish." Really. And why was it planted? Jesus said, "To him who has something will be given, and from him who has nothing will be taken away. Even the little." That's not what. Oh my goodness! That's from one of the parables of in Luke. Jesus said, "Be passers-by." Huh? His disciples said to him, "Who are you that you say these things to us?" Jesus said to them, "From what I say to you, you do not realize who I am, but you have become like the Jews, for they like the tree, for they like the tree and hate its fruits, and like the fruit and hate the tree." Eh? He who blasphemes against the Father will be forgiven. He who blasphemes against the Son will be forgiven. Sin against the Holy Spirit will not be forgiven, either on earth or in hell. Really. Another quote. Jesus said, "Grapes are not harvested from thorns, nor are figs gathered from thistles, for they do not give fruit. But someone good brings forth good things from from his storehouse, brings forth evil things from the evil storehouse, which is in the heart, and says evil things. For if one's heart is filled with that, one brings forth evil things." Yeah, really. No. Jesus said, "Among those born of women, from Adam until John the Baptist, there is none greater than John the Baptist, that his eyes should not be lowered before him. Yet I have said that if one of you becomes like a child, he will know the kingdom and be higher than John." It is impossible for a man to mount two horses, nor draw two bows, and it is impossible for a servant to serve two masters. Otherwise he will honor the one and insult the other. No man drinks old wine and desires the same instant to drink new wine. And new wine is not put into old wineskins, lest they should burst, nor is old wine put into new wineskins, lest it should spoil it. An old patch is not sewn unto a new garment, for a tear would result. Jesus said, when two make peace with each other in this one house, they will say to the mountain, move, and it will move. Jesus said, "Fortunate are you, the alone and the elect, for you will find the kingdom, because you came from it, you will also return to it." Ah, okay. So he said to the disciples allegedly that they came from the kingdom and they will go there, yeah. If they say to you, "Where did you come from?" say to them, "We came from the light, the place where the light came into being of itself, established itself, and revealed itself in their image." If they say to you, "Who are you?" say, "We are its sons, its. We are the elect of the living Father." If they ask you, "What is the sign of your Father in you?" it is movement and rest. Wow, what a sign. On what day will the rest come to those who are dead? And on what day will the new world come? What you expected has come, but you do not recognize. Yeah, of course. He said to him, 24 prophets spoke in Israel, and all of them spoke about you. You have passed over the living one who stands before you and have spoken of the dead. Eh? His disciples said to him, "Is circumcision useful or not?" He said to them, "If it were useful, their fathers would beget them already circumcised from their mother. Rather, the true circumcision in spirit, the true circumcision in spirit is in all ways useful. Fortunate are the poor, for yours is the kingdom of heaven. He who does not hate his father and his mother cannot be my disciple. And he who does not hate his brothers and sisters and take up his cross, as I do, will not be worthy of me. He who has come to know the world has found a corpse, and he who has found a corpse, the world is not worthy of him. The kingdom of the Father is like a man who had good seed. His enemy came by night and sowed weeds among the good seed, did not allow them to pull out the weeds. Said to them, do nothing, so that you do not pull out the wheat along with the weeds. For on the day of the harvest, the weeds will be recognizable and they will be pulled out and burnt. Wow. As if someone is actually sowing weeds. Fortunate is the man who has suffered. He found life. Look to the living one while you are alive, lest you die and then seek to see him and are unable to see. They saw a Samaritan carrying a lamb on his way to Judea. He said to his disciples, why does that man carry the lamb around? They said to him, so that he may kill it and eat it. He will not eat as long as it's alive, but only if he kills it and it has become a corpse. They said to him, he cannot do so otherwise. But you seek for a place for yourself to rest, lest you become a corpse and be eaten. Yeah. Oh my goodness. He said, two will rest on a bed, the one will die and the other will live. Who are you, man? Salom said. You have taken a seat on my couch and have eaten at my table. I am he who exists from the undivided. I was given some of the things of my father. I am your disciple, she said. Therefore I say, if somebody is one, he will be full of light. But if he is divided, he will be full of darkness. Okay, whatever. It is not those who are worthy of my mysteries that I tell my mysteries. Do not let your left hand know what your right hand is about to do. There was a rich man who had a lot of money. He said, I shall put all my wealth and fill my barn with harvest, with the result that I shall lack nothing. Such were the thoughts of his heart, but during that night he died. He who has ears to hear, let him hear. A man had guests, and when he had prepared the dinner, he sent his servant to invite the guests. He went to the first one and said to him, my master invites you. I have claims against some merchants. They are coming to me this evening. I must go and give them my orders. I ask to be excused from the dinner. He went to another and said to him, my master has invited you. He said to him, I have just brought a house and am required for the day. I shall not have any spare time. I said to him, my master invites you. He said to him, my friend is going to get married. And I am to prepare the banquet. I shall not be able to come. I ask to be excused from the dinner. The servant returned and said to his master, those whom you invited to the dinner have asked to be excused. The master said to his servant, go out in the streets and those of whom you happen to find, and bring in those that want to dine. Buyers and merchants will not enter the place of my father, whatever. There was a notable man who owned a vineyard. Oh my goodness. Jesus said, show me the stone which the builders have rejected. It is the cornerstone. Another biblical quote. He who believes to know the all, but not himself, falls completely short. Okay, that's not a quote from the Bible. Jesus said, fortunate are you when you are hated and persecuted, where you were persecuted will find no place. Okay. Jesus said, "Fortunate are those who are persecuted in their hearts. It is they who have truly come to know the Father. Fortunate are those who are hungry, for they will satisfy their bellies. If you bring forth what is within you, what you have will save you. If you do not have that within you, what you do not have within you will kill you. I will destroy this construction, and no one will be able to rebuild it again." A man said to him, "Tell my brothers to divide my father's possessions with me." He said to him, "Man, who has made me a divider?" He turned to his disciple and said, "I am not a divider, am I?" Jesus said, "The harvest is great, but the laborers are few. Pray the Lord to send out laborers for the harvest." Lord, many are around the water spring, but nobody is in the well. Many stand outside at the door, but it is the solitaries who will enter the bridal chamber. How much is there? Oh my goodness, look at that. There's like 114 verses. Are you kidding me? I thought they were like, what, 70? But it's like reading 114 chapters of the Quran, man. Where was I? I am the light that falls to on all things. I am the all. From me, the all has gone out. Cleave a piece of wood, and I am there. Lift up a stone, and you will find me there. Jesus said, "Why did you go out into the desert? To see a reed shaken by the wind? Your kings and your great men are the ones clothed in fine garments." One moment, please. Oof, I was thirsty. Oh my goodness. So, as you can understand, all those things here, all those things here, these are all stolen quotes from biblical text that actually proves that without knowing the context of some things, you cannot make you cannot make a book. You just make a, how to say it, a patching here and there. And that will conclude today's reading. We will read another Gnostic tomorrow, most probably the one of the others. There are a lot Gnostic things to read. We can read them to see the difference between the biblical narrations and the Gnostic writings. Let's do that next week, almost same time. Not same time. Let's do it next week at about no Sunday 7 p.m. That's fine. Sunday 7 p.m. next week. We'll do another reading. Up until that time, may God bless you. May Jesus have you in His arms, and always remember He gave His life so that you will have eternal life. Have a good week.